This might be one of the most sought after beers that is kind of readily available but hard to find, especially depending on what state you're in. But it's got a wide distribution and they make a lot of it.
Welcome to the realm of intoxicating flavors and head-banging beer reviews.
What's up, everybody? It's the Ginger Yeti, and I'm checking in from home. I found this bad boy right here at McScrooges, I think last year, down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Really excited to see it on the shelf because I've never seen it on the shelf in Ohio. I'm sure they sell it here somewhere because I've seen Utopias on the shelves before, or at least heard rumors that they've been on the shelves before in Ohio. So I know it's not the alcohol content, but I've just never found one of these in Ohio before. And this beer right here is the Dogfish Head 120 Minute IPA. I've heard a lot about this beer. I've always wanted to try it. Never had it before. Really excited to have this beer. Dogfish Head's out of Milton, Delaware, as I'm sure most people know. And they make this every year. And it's an Imperial India Pale Ale. The bottle here says 15.5% alcohol by volume. And when I was looking it up on Untappd lists it as 18% alcohol. But in the description on the bottom, when they talk about the beer, it says that when they brew the beer, it can be anywhere from 15 to 20% alcohol. So Untappd's not necessarily wrong. And I guess every year when they brew this, or however often they brew it, they don't really try to hit a specific alcohol percentage. They just kind of get a range of it. Not real sure on that, but that's my best guess. But I'm really excited to have this. There's some writing on the side here. I'm going to show you the label first. It's this gold label in black. Really cool to have this. The Dogfish Head stereotypical crown on the top. And I can see in the bottle right now, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, as I'm swirling it around, but there is a ton of sediment in the bottom of that. There's a ton of sediment just floating around in the bottom of that. I don't know if it'll show up on camera. So on the side of the bottle here, brewed and bottled by Dogfish Head Craft Brewery, Milton, Delaware, in collaboration with the Boston Beer Company. I didn't realize that, and I don't think it said that on Untappd. It's a collaboration beer with the Boston Beer Company. Wow, I did not know that at all. Copyright 2024, so this is obviously from 2024 at least. What you have here is the holy grail for hopheads. This beer is continually hopped for a 120-minute boil, and then it's dry hopped for over a month. Enjoy now or age for a decade or so. Age for a decade, wow. Like I said, I picked this up, I believe it was last year at McScrooges. Probably early last year, but it may have been, it had to have been sometime last year since the copyright's 2024. It may have been in the spring. I don't quite remember, but I know I picked it up at McScrooges. I'm just very excited to get into this beer. I haven't had this beer before, and again, they do say it's a holy grail for hopheads, and it, again, it's weird because this beer is very well distributed. They make a lot of it, but it's also very hard to find. It's kind of weird like that. And you'll understand what I'm saying in a minute here. So I open it up. So on Untappd, it gets a 4.23 with 179,000 check-ins. So 179,000 people have had this, allegedly. On Beer Advocate, it gets a 92 outstanding, 8.8 thousand check-ins with an aggregate score of 4.12. I've left a little bit in the bottom of the bottle there. That's going to be all that sediment and goodness. Because I want to try the beer first, and I'll pour all the sediment in and try it. How do I dip my beak in this when there's no head? Man. That smells syrupy. I'm not getting a big hop burst or anything, but that smells syrupy. And I don't want to say corn adjuncty syrupy, but it's kind of similar smell as like a strong corn adjunct syrup kind of beer smell, but it's different than the corn adjunct. But it's got this just very syrupy, thick kind of smell. And again, this high ABV beer, I'm sure it's gonna be a fun night tonight. And that is just orange. I mean, you can almost see through the bottom of it, but that is orange with just no real head to speak of. A little bit of bubbles around the edges of the glass, but That's down in the orange range, probably about a 12 on my SRM chart. And I'm excited to try this. I wonder if I can taste the alcohol, if it's going to hide the alcohol. Let's find out. Super stoked to have this beer. Cheers, everybody. A little bit of evaporative booziness. A lot of evaporative booziness. Some nice bitterness, some good bitterness, but it's subdued. And on the back end, that's interesting. A lot of evaporative booziness on the back end. The back end is almost like when you take a shot of Everclear and then exhale. That's how kind of evaporative boozy it is. I mean, on the front end, you know you're drinking a beer. And there's some really well subdued bitterness, but it's a good hop flavor. But the back end is like, I don't want to say straight booze, because it doesn't burn. There's no warming in the mouth. I'm not getting any real warming going down. But it's got this like boozy after effect on the back end. No carbonation whatsoever. This is very reminiscent of the Utopias I had. But if it was more on the bitter side, not like a stout side kind of, or port wine side like that the Utopias was like. This is very interesting beer. It's slowly drying. I keep going back for more. It's got this fruity bitterness to it. And then it's just like the end part again is like evaporative booze, almost like you did a shot of Everclear, but it doesn't burn like Everclear. But it's got that like kind of evaporative flavor of just drinking grain alcohol. So now I got this little sediment at the bottom there, which is probably a bad idea. I'm gonna pour that in there. Oh, look how thick that is. That's crazy. And that made that fizz up quite well. Swirl it around a little bit. That gave it some head. And that made that super cloudy now. I mean, that's really cloudy now that I added all that sediment in there. I'm sure I'll regret that tomorrow. See what the flavors are like now. That sediment actually gives it more of a creamy body, because the body was light and viscous, if that makes sense. But now that sediment gives it more of a creamy body. And that sediment actually cut down, or traub as some people say, cut down on the boozy kind of evaporativeness on the back end. It's still there, but it's much more subdued. This is a good beer. It's very interesting, very complex, super cool to find. Give it a big horns up. But I wouldn't want to drink more than one of these in a sitting. I mean, once in a while, this would be delicious. This should probably have been in a snifter instead of the IPA glass. This would be something you want to sip on for a while. Maybe even have a good cigar with this. It's a tasty, tasty beer. Really cool to find it. But I wouldn't want more than one of it as sitting. I mean, you drank 2 or 3 of these, you'd be falling over. You'd be possibly in handcuffs, especially if you chugged one of these. It's a super cool beer to find. Have you ever had the 120-minute IPA? Can you find it in your area? I'm surprised at how hard it is to find this beer, especially with how many check-ins there are. But it was really cool to find it. Like I said, I found it at McScrooges down in Knoxville, Tennessee. If you're ever in the Knoxville area, go check out McScrooges. It's a really good beer store, really good liquor store. Just a really cool place. And as always, embrace the adventure.